Thank you so much for joining me, Queen Tasha. You are amazing. I love you. I've had the opportunity to talk to you on several occasions, and I'm just amazed and blessed at all of the wonderful things that you're doing. So I wanted you to come on the podcast and talk about it. So let's jump right into it. Tell us about yourself, about your background, and what got you into this arena of empowering women.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Why don't you?
Come on, you gotta do the queens right.
Okay, right. Well, my name is Tasha Odunuyi, and I am the author of Mustering the Strength to Fight. I'm also the owner of Diella Designs Women Fashion brand, and everything I do, I believe that your purpose, needs to be at the center of everything that you do. And so I empower women to through my fashion brand, show up unapologetically, commanding rooms they enter. With my new release of Mustering the Strength to Fight, birthed out of my faith journey, I am now, God has taken that pain and turned it into purpose. And now I want to share and empower other women to know that they are not their stories, they are not what happened to them, and they can take that pain and turn it into purpose. And so I'm so happy to be here sharing with you today.
Wow, pain into purpose. I love it. I am all about everything purpose. So tell us what got you into that. Was it something in your own experience that kind of, a lot of us who come into this space, we have our own testimony. So what is your testimony that you're willing to share with us that got you into that space to say, hey, I need to go out here and empower other women because of what I went through? Tell us a little bit about your testimony.
Oh, absolutely. We all have a story. Well, years ago, 3 of my siblings got into a fight, and one of my brothers died from his injury. And then I had one brother who was facing possibly getting 20 years to life. But after that tragedy happened, I refused to lose 2 brothers. And so I wanted to fight for him, and God graced me to fight to help save my brother's life. And so even in that, I said I didn't want to lose 2 brothers. Unfortunately, I did wind up losing 2 brothers because a third brother who was involved in the fight slowly developed mental illness, and he was also killed by law enforcement. So there I was in this unbelievable tragedy within my family. We all have siblings and siblings fight, but I don't know why this time was any different. And, sometimes when we're going through things, we don't know why we're going through. We know not to question God, but sometimes we want to ask, why us? And during this, at a time in my life where things were just going so amazing, I had just given birth to my 3rd child. God blessed me to be able to come home with my child, to have my business at home, to be closer to the kids. And that Friday evening phone call just changed the trajectory of our lives forever. And so when you're in that fight, you're not thinking about on the other side. You're thinking about just trying to get through it. But, after much work, after much healing and much therapy and processing, and being able to get to a place where now I can stand on my story and not in my story to empower you, it's like, okay, God, what was it that you wanted me to get from this situation? What is, everybody always says, okay, there's a lesson in something. And I'm thinking to myself, this was so traumatic for our family. What could the lesson be here? And so again, after much work, I just realized that so many of these things are happening within our communities. We talk about breaking generational curses and cycles of abuse, but sometimes we don't want to talk about those things to help free other people, and so I just thought to myself, well, let me just backtrack a little bit. After like 101 prophetic words, like you supposed to write a book, sis. You're supposed to be speaking, sis. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, I'm an introvert. I like to do what I do from behind the scenes, not in front of a camera and speaking in front of crowds. And then the quarantine happened. We didn't have nothing but time. So that book that I had been running from was the book that was birthed in quarantine. But The crazy thing about it is, it wasn't the book that I thought I was going to start with. I thought that I would be starting with writing about the childhood abuse that we all went through. But God directed me here. And I know that is for a season, a reason and a season, because for one, we're in a time where we've all come out of a pandemic and everybody's been dealing with some form of mental illness, dealing with their mental health. I mean, no time that I remember have we been in a place where we've all been in quarantine for a year. And so that just took a lot out of people. And so I just think that, God is strategic in how he does things. And that this was the time for that book.
Wow, that is amazing, because
Yeah.
you said something that I know to be true, is that God is strategic. And when we think about being strategic, or a strategy that God may have, we don't see the pain, the purpose in the pain. We just see all of that, because as I'm listening to you speak, and I know that God is doing something good in you, and I know you have gone on your healing journey and continue that, because those things that you're talking about, I'm like, okay, that would have made somebody, really, really fall off the deep end. And
Mhm.
understanding that, God always gives us a way of escape. A lot of people say,
Mhm.
well, the Bible says that he won't give us more than we can bear. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says that he gives us a way of escape.
Mhm.
And your way of escape was not falling into the trap or the generational things that was going
Mhm.
on, but it was really finding that moment to be quiet and to say, okay, now it's time to birth what you want, not what I
Mhm.
want, not what I thought I was going to do, but allowing yourself to be obedient and really write the book, which I know is going to bless so many others, but specifically
Yeah.
surrounding mental health. I'm a mental health professional, and I see
Yeah.
this every single day. And you're right, 2020, you could have clocked in or you could have clocked out. And you chose to fall in and
Yeah.
empower women. So that is so powerful. So I'm going
Yeah.
to ask a cliche question. What got you through all of that outside of God? We know God is there. What was it that you held on to on those days when you felt like giving up? Because I know you show up, you're amazing, you're beautiful. Everything that you're doing is amazing. But some of us, we have scars under our makeup. How do you get through the pain of those scars?
My goodness, that's such a heavy loaded question. To be perfectly honest and transparent, during the time that I was going through this, because I had so many things happening at one, I had just lost my brother. I was fighting for my brother, and then wound up losing another one. And when you think about the situation as it relates to the first brother and the incident, I was standing directly in the middle with two brothers on each side. I was fighting for the life of one, but fighting against the state's attorney who was trying to get justice for another brother. So it was the absolutely worst situation to be in. And some days I didn't even think I could make it another day. During that time, I can honestly tell you that there were days I wanted to pray where I could see the prayers, I could feel the prayers, but I just couldn't get the words out, and the tears would just fall. And it's in that moment. I mean, I've been in church long enough. My grandmother raised me in church to know that, God understands those tears. And one thing that I always say, two things that carried me through those times when I couldn't pray, and I knew that I had intercessors praying for me, was we all know footprints in the sand. When we question, what, I'm in this, you feel like you're in this thing alone. I'm fighting for my brother alone, because everybody wasn't at that place that I was in to be able to say, what, let me fight for him. And I didn't judge them, because everybody has to walk their own path and get to that place. But I'm just glad God graced me to do it. And so during that time, I had to look back at God's track record, because this isn't the first thing that you've brought me through. And so even though I couldn't pray like I needed to, like I knew how to do, I'm like, your track record is flawless. And even though I can't see my way out of this, I don't know why I'm in this mess. I don't know what's on the other side. I don't even know what's happening with my brother who's facing these 20 years. But what I do know is that you've never left me or forsaken me. And so I just had to, even though I feel like my prayer life wasn't exactly how it probably should have been at the time, I had to trust God's history along my path to know that I know that you're not going to leave me in this. And even though I probably can't see you in it myself, you're right there, and trust me. Having to have gone through that experience and fighting for my brother and dealing with just everything that circled around what we were going through, God was definitely the wind behind my back, pushing me all those days that I thought that I couldn't make it. So it's not easy.
Woo,
You know,
woo,
somebody
now.
somebody else would want to say, like you said, it's very cliche. And the first thing is, oh, my faith. But guess what? My faith at that time, I was so depleted. I was a new mom. My baby was 6 months old. So I went from a happy life, all these things, these blessings. And then just at the snap of a hat, everything changed. And
Mm,
so it's just like, okay, how am I going to get through this? So,
mm. Mm. First of
mhm.
all, I'm trying to, because I'm about to holler and take off running because you are preaching a whole sermon. Because, and I think that's a word for each and every person that comes across this interview, is to understand that we all get to those places to where we don't know what God is doing. Yeah, God, I trust you, but this is, I'm hurting, I'm in pain, I'm angry, I'm whatever it is, and I feel like I'm getting ready to give up. But understanding that even if we can't trace him, we can look back and say, I've been here before. I felt these emotions before. I felt like giving up before, but you still came through. And so I know you'll do it again. That is a whole word. Whole word. Look back.
It is.
Look back. My
It
God.
is because it's in those times that you get those battles, you get those tools. And thank God
Mm,
for a foundation, because your foundation will not fail you. Like, I can't even imagine if I didn't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I could very well be one of the people that I'm talking about as it
yep,
relates to mental illness. Because people in situations like this and so many things that we see right now are turning to other things,
yep.
you know? Yeah, maybe I couldn't pray like I needed to, but I knew that that's my foundation, and I knew God's track record. So even though I don't know all the steps, as I'm stepping out here taking these bold moves and talking to a state's attorney, fighting for my brother with a public defender, because we didn't have $50,000 to fight for him. So I'm like, okay, the stuff that I was saying, when I look back on it now, it showed me a level of boldness that I didn't even know
Mm,
I had. And I knew it had to be nothing but God working through me, because I'll never forget one Friday, this state's attorney called me and he said, I've been down to the jail to see your brother. We'll agree to give him 17 years. And at the drop of a hat, I said, no, that's not good enough. You're going to have to come back with something else. And he's on the phone like, excuse? You might want to talk to your brother. He may need. I was like, no. I was like, I've already lost one brother. I can't see my brother going away for 17 years. And he was like, Tasha, you really need to understand what I'm saying. And I'm like, no. And so that was nothing. The way it worked out was,
mhm. I think
um,
we're having a little bit of audio issues,
I
but
wound
you
up
are
getting
preaching.
some character statements in church. Yeah, yeah, I saw it. Yeah. No, and my mother had written a letter, and the day of the court date, before I could get my butt in the seat, this state's attorney, he comes to me, he says, this has never happened in all of my history. He was like, whatever you did touched my boss's heart, and we're going to settle for 7 years, and your brother will serve half of that because he's been here a year. So he wound up serving 4 years. And it is nothing but the grace of God. Nothing. About crazy faith.
Mm.
I mean, when I look back on it, like, Lord have mercy, I'm so thankful that didn't go another way, but I trusted you to speak through
Mhm.
me and work through me in that situation.
My Lord, that's the power. And you said something, and I've been talking to a couple people today, and I just want to read something to you, because you said something about faith and you not having enough faith. And I think that is something that so many of us go through, to where
Mhm.
we feel like we don't have enough faith. But I
Mhm.
want to read to you something that came to my heart as I'm listening to you. Luke 22,
Mhm.
31 through 34. And it says, and the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. And that word converted, it
Mhm.
means to be adapted, to be suitable for another purpose. And so
Mhm.
understanding that faith part, when we feel like we don't have enough faith,
Mhm.
like your faith can't fail you. It's
Right.
impossible, because Jesus has prayed for you,
Right.
specifically for you. So whoever it is that's watching this, your faith will not fail you, even if you feel like it's going to fail you. The
Yeah.
word says, when you are converted, not if.
Yeah.
So we will make it to the other side. So that is a whole
Yeah.
word, and
Amen.
understanding to be obedient to things that once it's settled in your spirit, you begin to speak out of that without
Mhm.
even knowing it. And that
For
was
sure.
a peace and a joy that I'm sure you were comfortable with. You know,
Mhm.
even though it was frightening, the words that were coming out of your mouth, did you
Mhm.
have that peace and that settledness?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I had no choice. I had no choice but to depend on God and lean into what he was directing me to do, because it's so funny, because all of these podcast interviews that I've started doing, the number one question across the board is, how were you able to show your brother that level of compassion? It never appeared, reading your book, that you were angry with him or bitter or anything like that. And my question is always the same. Think about your worst day. Think about the things that you've gone through in your life, and just imagine if you didn't have not one person in the whole entire world to say, you know what, you got this. You can make it through. You're not by yourself. And so I wanted to be that person for my brother, because I felt I needed to give him that same level of compassion that all of us would want. This book is about my faith journey, but it's also about seeing things from a different lens, because, people are so quick to say, well, I wouldn't do that. You don't know what you would do in the heat of the moment.
Come on.
And this is something that I'm sure that if we could go back, it wouldn't have happened, But this is about compassion. It's about resilience. It's about faith, love, and forgiveness. There was no way I was about to leave my brother in that fight on his own. There was no
Wow.
way.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and we're going to learn more about the book and how we can purchase the book, as well as the borntoempowerher.com and all of the great things that you're doing there. So stay with us, you guys. We're talking to the beautiful Queen Tasha about her story, and we want you to purchase her book and support all of the great things that she has going on. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Hello, this is Shonda Campbell, founder of Speak Woman Magazine and Marketing. Check us out, speakwomanmagazine.com. Well, I have a question for you. How many times have you set a goal, said you were going to do something, this time it was going to be different, all to find out it wasn't? Well, don't worry, you're not by yourself. This is why Speak Woman's accountability group, Mind, Body, Business, was created. This accountability group will meet collectively as one, as well as partner you with a one-on-one accountability partner. Why? We will come together and learn and love on one another. There is such a stigma of women not supporting one another, not clapping for one another. And we're going to dispel all of that and build trust in one another as we are reaching our goals. We will also have goodies, because we all like to be rewarded for our accomplishments. So whether it be cash prizes, whether it be business goodies, personal goodies, whatever it is, we will reward ourselves, because it fulfills that and it gives us motivation to go on, as well as sisterhood. I'm big on sisterhood, and it is very important to me. So I want you to be a part. It is every Sunday. We will meet, we will come together, set collective goals and action plans, as well as come in with coaching, with speaking engagements. If you've got something to share, we will give you the stage, all to grow in our gifts as well as accomplish our goals. So I invite you to be a part of our accountability group. How do you sign up? speakwomanmagazine.com/events. I want to see you there. Come on in and let's grow together. Speak Woman Accountability Group. We all need to be accountable to one another. Speak Woman Accountability Group, Mind, Body, Business. I want you to be a part. Go over now to speakwomanmagazine.com/events. Speak Woman Magazine and Marketing is a digital publication and marketing company with a mission to spotlight women. We also provide advertising and marketing assistance, as well as a platform to promote your growing brand. Visit us at speakwomanmagazine.com. Thank you so much for hanging with us, you guys. We are talking to the beautiful Queen Tasha. She is going to be a feature in the upcoming issue of Speak Woman Magazine. So make sure you check us out, speakwomanmagazine.com. We've been listening to your story, Tasha, and I am blessed. And I know that it's just the tip of the iceberg. So we need to get the book. So tell us about the book and how we can purchase it.
Oh, sure. You can purchase Mustering the Strength to Fight on my website, born to empower her.com, as well as Amazon.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
go on over there, make that an Amazon bestseller, support our sister. I am so passionate about purpose, and everything is surrounding purpose on your life. Your story is just amazing. So tell us about all of the great things that you're doing with fashion and the other stuff that we can do, that we can support you on.
Oh, for sure. The Yellow Designs fashion brand was also birthed out of course, lifting up our sisters to know that you can come in any room you enter in style. You know, when you show up, how are we showing up in these rooms? You know, we talk about having a seat at the table. Okay, but how are you showing up when that seat is presented to you? And so you can actually get a consultation with the Yellow Designs prior to shopping so that we can help you select your best style language for what you have coming up. It's everyday wear, authentic ethnic prints and modern styles. You can visit my website at yellowdesigns.com. We also do fashion shows, but of course that's kind of like been on the back burner with COVID and everything going on. But it's definitely something that I'm sincerely passionate about because it's also, to me, marketplace ministry. You know, I don't have to preach to the women who come interact with me through the Yellow Designs, but something about me should be different. They should have an experience when they come to me. So I'm very proud and honored to be able to serve women through fashion. And then Born to Empower Her, it was actually something that was birthed from this book. You know, I was sitting one day and I'm like, okay, God, you have to have everything separate from a market standpoint. And he gave me that born that number 2 and empower her. And so I see so many great things coming through that. In the future, I'm believing God that maybe some Christian plays are coming out of this. You know, hey, who says I can't be the next Tyler Perry over here?
Come on, come on.
Yeah,
manifest.
Absolutely. And just everything is about that uplifting because, again, my purpose has to be connected to everything that I do. And again, God is strategic in how he does things. And so I don't know all the pieces because he knows I'm very analytical and he hasn't given me all he has said is step out. And every time I take those bold moves to step out, he is aligning and sending the right people to help me birth this vision. And I'm excited about it myself. And I invite you to also follow me on my Instagram at Born to Empower Her at Gmail, because, hey, I'm on this faith journey continuously, and it's a continuous healing process. And I'm be honest, I'm out here doing it scared because public speaking and being in the spotlight is not one of the things that I run to. It was one of the things I run from. But, you know, I realize as I begin to speak that my voice carries weight for the people who I'm called to. And I'm just honored at some of the reviews and testimony that I've gotten from people about their healing and starting to get their breakthrough. So every time I show up and I show up nervous, I think about my why, and it's the heart of the people. And if I can just touch one person with this book, one family member who will see through a different lens when they have an incarcerated loved one, that compassion piece, you know, put yourself in someone else's shoes. So many things that I see coming from this, and I'm just grateful that God chose me. It was hard, but
wow. But you have submitted and said yes.
Said yes.
Knees knocking, teeth chattering. Yes, God, I will do it.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm so excited to connect with you.
Yes.
You all make sure you get the book, support all that Tasha is doing. I always am just in alignment with light, and you are a bright light. And I just thank God for a divine connection, and we will definitely stay connected. So you guys make sure you check her out in the upcoming issue of Speak Woman Magazine at speakwomanmagazine.com. Do you have a business? Do you have a brand? Do you have a story? I want to hear about it. We want to have you on this podcast. So make sure you check us out, speakwomanmagazine.com. Queen, it's been amazing.